Okay, so today we're gonna be getting into the good stuff. I know y'all want the tea, the names, the what happened, and obviously I can't go there specifically, but I think it's important to talk about lessons learned from ending a 5-year relationship. Let's get to it. Obviously, I'm not gonna share his perspective because I have no idea. It's been 7 months maybe, and haven't really spoken to him maybe twice, and it was not good. I'm gonna start off with reading a letter that I wrote in my journal. Obviously, I've never sent it, but I think it's just a good place to start. I'm sorry for ever making you feel less than. Over time, our relationship brought out the worst in me, and that was reflected towards you. Looking back, I realized a lot of my time was spent desperately trying to convince myself this is true love. No doubt love was there and it was true. I just knew inside I wasn't the one for you. I could bring a multitude of experiences to the surface, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to let you know how you hurt me. It's the easy thing to do to paint me as the reason we fell out. I was constantly the one to fuck up and create drama, but your method of war was just toxic just the same. You presented a version of a person who wasn't true. Every conversation about emotions was short-lived and ended with a, well, I'm just not good at expressing myself. I needed emotional intimacy, someone who didn't dismiss my anxieties and sorrows as something I was just dealing with. I felt alone and crazy, and like I wasn't even worth understanding. Towards the end, my attempts at grasping resulted in spiteful rebellion, in which the truth was finally being revealed. Every violation of our sacred space was brushed off with, I don't know why I did it, or it's really not that serious. Trying to preserve my sanity, I ignored all internal alarms telling me this isn't right and believed in you, in us. I turned my back on myself and made late-night dives into body shakes and stomach aches something of a ritual, something I deserved for not being enough to have all parts of you. Hours spent looking for any shred of evidence to suggest your energy was going elsewhere. I was the crazy one. Eventually, my fears came to fruition and all I could say was, I knew it. It hurts you downplay what happened with so-and-so because you didn't put your dick in her. Intimate pet names, FaceTime, Snapchat sex over the course of weeks. Fuck, that shit cut deep. It gives me a stomachache when I think about what kind of person could get off the phone, obviously sexually charged, and go and take it out on someone you're supposed to love, to cherish. You used me. You lied to me. If all that wasn't enough after you saw how you destroyed me, after you begged me to stay, you still left to see her. Looking back, that event should have been what gave me everything I needed to leave. But when you have no self-worth, I guess you'll take whatever you can get. I'm sorry for not realizing sooner. Hindsight proves all was necessary. Fuck you for real. I'm grateful and I'm ready to let go of the little piece of me who ever thought you were the one for me. I'm done allowing your inability to see what's real and validate me. I know what happened and I know I'm loyal, so goodbye to your storyline, celebrated by all who agree and despise the purity of light I hold inside. Good luck in life and good luck in love. Thank you for helping me learn my worth, for giving me an example of what I should never stand for giving me the courage to follow myself into lands unknown, for helping me see the destruction a hungry woman can bring, for having patience while I explore different parts of me. Thank you. I think this letter says a lot for many reasons. One, in the sense of gratitude, for everything that's happened. When shit goes down at the end of the day, it's gonna hurt for a minute, 12 minutes, a couple months, maybe even a year. It's gonna fucking suck. Especially if a lot of your self-worth and self-identity was tied into that person. But that leads me to a bigger point and a bigger concept that was the biggest thing I took away from ending a 5-year relationship, was the realization that it was never really about him. When we're growing up in life, the first 7 years of our lives are imprinting from the people around us. And sometimes it's a really amazing thing if we're fortunate enough to have really amazing conscious people raise us. But other times, and most times, it's imprinting that's not healthy, that's traumatic, that's scary, that puts you in a frame of mind of fear, of dependability, of inability to embrace your independence and your true power. And I think that's what really was going on. I had to learn and I had to recognize, I had to let go of the anger that I had towards him specifically. and, you know, kind of accept him for who he is as a human being. Because if I were to spend my time after that looking back and analyzing, why wasn't I good enough here? Why wasn't I good enough there? Who is this new girl? Why is she better than me? If I would have done that to myself, I would have fucking killed myself. And let's be honest. Like, let's be honest. That's the path to fucking insanity. I had to look at him and kind of approach it with an understanding. Okay, he's his own person. I'm my own person. And he has things he's going through, and he has reasons why he treats me this way. And you really have to accept the fact that nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. Every single person comes with their own set of programming. And if they're not conscious to the fact of it, then they're just going through their lives on habits. It's all in our unconscious behavior. And that's where we really need to look for clues, especially in times of heartache and in times of pain. Anywhere in your life that you are struggling, look at it and question it and say, and take responsibility for it. Take responsibility for it. In life, if you want to control your life, if you want to be the creator of your future and your destiny, if you want to access your greatest potential and your greatest joy, you have to take responsibility. Because if you don't, you're just a victim of your life. And every single thing that happens to you happened because, oh, I'm just so-and-so. No, fuck that. Look at it, take responsibility and say, okay, this is what I was given. Now what? Now what do I do with it? Now how can I heal myself back to wholeness? I was given that, and I had to really look at myself and acknowledge the fact that I have daddy issues. I had to look back into my past and acknowledge the fact that I was afraid of being abandoned. And that's what kept me in that relationship for a lot longer than I should have been, was this fear that I'm not good enough. I really thought in my mind the only reason that I'm going to make it anywhere in life is because I have this successful man. On some real shit. On some real shit. So leaving was really fucking hard. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any money. I didn't have anywhere to live. My entire life and all of my freedoms were given up to this person because I truly believed in the future that we had together. And going back, you know, I wouldn't do it differently because I learned what I learned and I had to go through it. And I'm just grateful that I had someone who was patient and graceful and provided for me and who loved me the best that he knew how he could. That's the thing about it, is things don't necessarily have to be completely fucking horrible, you know, on the surface. It really is this fit for me or not? Is this resonating for me or not? Is this allowing me to be my greatest person? And at the end of the day, it wasn't. And I felt trapped and I felt hopeless. And I think that's what caused a lot of my behaviors. I was desperate. I would rage and I would fucking binge drink and just, I was dead. I was dead inside. Life was not mine to have anymore. And getting away from that relationship was the scariest thing that I've ever fucking done. But as soon as I jumped, something caught me. Life caught me. I was always supported. I was always cared for by people who loved me. I ended up being open to a completely different kind of love. One of the biggest things that helped me through it was the saying, you know, you can change your life if you can change your mind. And I really made the realization that the reason why it was so difficult for me to leave, for me to build a new life, was because I had conceptualized in my entire future on the premise of this idea, these thought patterns. And it's like the sooner you can let go of those thought patterns, the sooner you can just let go, as scary as it may be, because we really don't know what's going on, but we think that we do, and we would like to think that we do as a form of safety. And, you know, it's really not. Sorry if this is scattered. I'm sorry if I'm, like, all over the place. You know, I'm getting kind of sweaty. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. I didn't really make notes. I'm just kind of freeballing it. My advice to you, if you're going through it, I would encourage you not to question the motives of the other person. I would encourage you to not define your own self-worth on whether or not they decided to stay or not, whether or not they saw something in you. I would encourage you not to look at their new spouse and say, what do they have that I don't? Sometimes people just aren't right for each other. And it's as simple as that. And I know it's not something that you want to hear because, you know, we love people and we would love them to stay around for the long run. But I think that that's a lesson in life that you should learn sooner than later, is that sometimes you just have to let people go, even if you love the fuck out of them. Because sometimes it's better for their greatest good, and it's better for your greatest good. What you're really given when someone is taken away from you and you feel a deep pain within your heart is an opportunity. Is an opportunity to fill yourself up with the love that you desire from other people. Because if someone leaves and it really fucking tears a hole in you, it kind of opens your eyes to the fact that you were using them to fill something inside of yourself. And some people won't want to admit that, you know, because they want to be like, oh, my love is pure, my love is this, I was never using them. But I think in a way that we all use each other for something, unless you've truly awakened to the fact that you are all you will ever need, and you can give yourself all that you need. Because if not, we're going to look to other people to fill our voids. We're going to look to other people to fill the trauma and the pain that was left by the people in our early childhood. All growing up, my dad wasn't around. He was someone who was abusive to my mom and my sister, and he was this monster. And I felt a lot of shame for even wanting a relationship with him, for wanting to be a daddy's girl, for wanting that. And I would have constant dreams of fucking me being with my romantic partners and me looking in their face and something just changed. And I would be begging and crying and looking at them and saying, please, like, please don't leave, please don't go. And immediately they would just change, and it's like all the time that we spent together didn't even matter, and like I was nothing. And that was absolutely heart-wrenching. And those fears ultimately came to surface. Now I'm nothing to someone who I thought I would always be something to. And that's absolutely fine, because shit happens. But at the end of the day, it was my responsibility to figure out where this trauma and this pain was coming from, because until I healed that within myself, I recognized that I was only going to attract more relationships that fed that fear, until I realized, until I was able to bring the healing to myself. A lot of times we don't want to look at the real issue of things. We want to talk about the person. We want to fixate on it. We want to occupy our minds with what's happening, because it's easier than looking at ourselves and recognizing the own pain in our heart, and recognizing how we turned away from ourselves so many years ago, how we learned how to not listen to ourselves. It's a learned behavior. If people around us when you're younger don't listen to you, especially when you're hurting or in pain, you feel like it's not a safe space, you learn to not tell anybody, even yourself. And that's what hurts the most, is recognizing I'm not giving myself the life I deserve. And that's a big thing to come to terms with. And once you come to terms with it, I'm fucking jumping for joy for you, because that's when things really change. Once you recognize that love is yours to give to yourself, then it's a whole nother journey of healing. But in order to get there, use these traumatic experiences, use this heartbreak as something of a tool for you to heal your heart. It's really fucking hard, especially with our mental patterns. If something like that happens, like, your mind will just go on a fucking loophole, down, 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 and you'll want to die. Quite literally. If you stay in your mind, you will want to fucking die. Like, it gets torturous. It gets torturous to not even be able to exist in a moment without feeling the constant parade of opinions from your own worst fucking crowd of haters on some real shit. So it's like, in order to transcend your mind, in order to get some space from it, you need to use tools. I use meditation. And it's not some hippy-dippy thing. It's quite literally just staying with your breath, giving yourself space. Instead of allowing your mind to just go and go and go, it's okay, I'm going to pause. Your mind can only concentrate on one thing at a time. Choose your breath. It's your anchor. You will get lost in your mind. You will get lost. Use your breath as an anchor and follow it. And you will realize soon enough that there is a love here greater than anything any human being could ever give to you, that you could give to yourself. Once you connect with your breath, you are connecting with life. And the more that you form that relationship with life, the more it will give back to you, the more you'll be able to see more. What's happening when you're in these heartbreaks is you're just in this little fucking, your perspective is about this big. And you can only see things through fear, through what happened, through this and that. So you need to create room for yourself inside of yourself by doing things that you enjoy, to take your mind off of what's going on. I like to read, I like to paint, I like to write, I like to dance, I like to sing, I like to do my makeup. You know, I like to turn up. I wouldn't recommend, you know, drugs and alcohol as your only coping mechanism, but you know, sometimes a little self-love requires a little fucking drink or two. We're all human beings trying to cope with the same experience. We have this higher spiritual perspective inside of us, and we look at our little human selves behaving in such ways, and we know this doesn't make sense. Why am I doing it? Yet we find ourselves doing the same thing, and it just creates a cycle of shame. It creates a cycle of disappointment. It creates a cycle of self-hate. The real cure for that is awareness. Awareness inside of yourself, love inside of yourself, giving yourself space. Every day you need to implement habits that give you that space. You need to meditate for 5 minutes first, 3 minutes even first, 2 minutes first. It's hard as fuck, but the practice is what matters. Showing up, doing more research. Self-care and self-love is the greatest thing that you could ever invest in life because it will yield the greatest return. It's going to be in a different video, law of attraction, but it's fucking everywhere. You are what you attract, and this is the same exact premise of why we need to heal our trauma, because if we carry our trauma with us, if it's never processed, and most of the times it's not, because we were never sat down and talked to about how to process this shit. Until you do that, you're just going to attract more of the same relationships. Until you do that, you're going to keep going through the same shit over and over and over and over again. It's time to stop focusing on other people to provide you with the love that you can provide for yourself. And please don't turn your nose up at it, because it's absolutely the greatest gift you can ever have. Even if you can't see it or feel it now, you have to have faith that it will come. I've had several spiritual experiences on my journey that have showed me what it is at my highest potential, what it is to provide myself with the own love in my heart. And those few experiences has what carried me through day after day after day after day, because I know my potential. And I know that when I'm truly in my heart, I am my own best friend. And I love myself so much, and I'm so proud of myself. And I walk through life not fucking dreading it, because my internal dialogue is, wow, I'm so proud of you. Wow, look at that. Let me marvel in the love of this moment. Let me turn my nose up at the fucking gratitude in the sky. Let me smell the breeze. Let me, life is just in a different dimension. It's painted different colors once you start to rise up out of your trauma and your pain and your outmolded habits. Heartbreak is an opportunity to get closer to yourself. I will always be an advocate for the you inside of you, because we are not just here in our bodies alone. We have different parts to ourselves. We have a little child within, quite literally, and that child is what we see in children, is the joy, is the laughter, is the eyes that are just so fucking pure. We have that inside of us still. We've just hushed it, like, shh, child, shh, shh. Don't feel your pain now. It's not the right time. Shh. Don't do this. It's not appropriate. Shh. Whatever our trauma and our conditioning is how we're gonna suppress that child. And of course, it's not gonna want to bloom and blossom and come to the forefront, because if it does, God forbid you try anything creative that you like, because you'll be confronted with oh, this looks like shit. It's not good enough anyways. Literally, these are the paradoxes. You have a driving force that wants positive in your life, and you have a negative force that wants to take that away. You have to learn how to balance the scales. You have to learn how to accept even the negative, because we are human beings and this shit exists. And until we can clean out our fucking tank of shit in our minds, our habits, until we can clean that out, we need a whole lot of patience. We need a whole lot of grace to give ourselves room. It's a journey. It takes time. But day after day after day, if you value yourself and your happiness and your peace, if you value the people around you, you'll recognize this is what you really need. Because you can't really be a true gift to anybody else until You're full within yourself. For real. Hurting people hurt people, and happy people, help people. I think it's a universal need for every human to want freedom and joy, because we know who we are. Now it's about going home. And I swear to God, I promise, every single thing in your life will change if you just start to focus on yourself, if you start to give yourself love. You can't give anyone else love unless you truly love yourself. It'll be love out of desperation, out of grasping. Don't you want to give people around you full love, unconditional love? Love without bounds of, if this happens, I'm not going to love you. If this happens, no. The people around you deserve pure love. They deserve an example of someone who has that within themselves so they can give it to themselves. It's time to stop living in fear. It's time to stop looking at the things in our life as something that they've happened to us and recognize it's something that's happening for us. If you're going through a major heartbreak right now, recognize that this is life. This is God's grace picking you up and saying, hey, that wasn't the best thing for you. You were not going to reach your highest potential in that relationship. You deserve better. So let me put you here. And we're so fucking mad at the universe when we're in those places. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I want to die right now. Please don't tell me that this is my freedom. But quite literally it is, because you have to go there. Every single heartbreak has a flip side of truth, of love, of balance. They're little keys. The things that hurt you in life are keys to your greatest evolution. Hopefully this video helped. And if not, I might elaborate on it later. But I feel like it's good for now. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please hit me up. I'm always here. I always have books to recommend. I always have meditations to recommend. What you're looking for in life is right here with you. Start looking in the right places. I promise you'll find it. I love you.